mutants. Don't forget Colossus and Negasonic Teenage Warhead. I call her Teenage Wasteland. Yeah. That's not it. That's the wrong title of a Boo song. Well, we've told you that we are not too old to talk about the things we love. Age is just a number, and we are seeing lots of numbers racking up for the highest grossing rated R movie of all time, Deadpool and Wolverine. And you know what? We liked it. We saw it. We're going to talk to you all about it. My name is Chris. I'm Eddie. We are not too old to talk about, do, and experience the things we love. We saw Deadpool like a lot of the world seeing Deadpool. I know that I saw it first. I've been waiting eagerly. Usually it's the other way around. I'm usually last of these movies, but I had to see it. Did you, spoiler free, were you in? Did you go? Oh, yes. I actually somehow made it, because I was worried, because I went, it was only out for a couple days when I went, it came out on a Friday, I went on the Sunday, because I didn't want spoilers, and I didn't get, so I'm glad. So just what were your initial reactions? What did you think, like, big picture about Deadpool and Wolverine?
So I loved that movie more so than any of the other Marvel movies. This one felt the most like a comic book, right? Like, if you have ever actually read a Deadpool comic, this felt like a Deadpool comic. I think having the freedom to be able to have any of the MCU characters be referenced, it felt for the first time like a full Marvel universe.
Yeah, and I think what it is, like, now that Disney has acquired this 20th Century Fox, and so all of these things that have been these scattered universes can like, what it is kind of these scattered planets that can finally be a little solar system.
Yeah.
Right? Because we have seen that kind of started a little bit edging in, if I remember correctly, in WandaVision, because the character that we thought was going to be Quicksilver from the Fox universe wound up being like her brother, but his real name was like a boner, like literally a boner joke or something. And anyway, I love that series, but like we saw that glimpse where clearly an MCU thing was getting at least heavy hinted about former Fox IP things with that Quicksilver reveal, right? And so I loved this movie for a ton of reasons. The first, which what I told you, because I wasn't going to spoil anything for you, but like no Deadpool movie, because one of the great things about Deadpool is the breaking of the fourth wall, being almost the narrator for the movie he is in. It just adds this fun dynamic. Like you were saying, it felt like a comic, right? And the best way to describe that is that's what the comic book is where Deadpool knows he's a comic book character.
Yes.
And in this, he knows he's in a movie, right? Deadpool is both living in this universe and has seen Endgame.
Yes, correct.
You know what I mean?
And that was so refreshing, because I think in a world where the MCU has kind of like lost its way, and I'm not saying that in like the like, oh, they're so woke now, not like that, but like more in the like, they had that first season like, oh my God, this was amazing hangover that a lot of excellent shows have in a season 2, where it's like the season 2 of The Wire isn't great.
Yeah, it's also like when you ask your audience to watch a dozen movies to get to a gigantic finish, right? Like there are going to be some people that just sort of go, like, there are some people that I bet you to this day that are very aware of all of it, obviously. But to them, it's like, you know what? To me, Star Wars is 3 movies from the 70s and 80s.
Sure.
Right? I don't love the prequels. I don't know if anybody loves the sequels. And so to me, understanding that there's this whole thing here, to me, Star Wars is 4, 5, and 6.
It's really,
I think for some people, they're okay with like, to me, the MCU is up to Endgame. That's my MCU. You guys have fun.
Right.
I think that's a very real path.
I think you're 100% right. Also, having Endgame, or having this movie really kind of like helps reset, again, like the pandemic really screwed everything up, right?
It did?
I know, wild, right? No, but the pandemic really, remember when we didn't have toilet paper?
I know, it was wild. Yeah. Are you better off than you were 4 years ago? Yes.
Yeah, much better.
Yeah.
But the MCU was so affected by the pandemic, not being able to film the movies that they wanted to film, and the death of Chadwick Boseman.
Yeah, sure.
You know, those two things really messed up all of the plans for what was supposed to be all of the post-Endgame stuff.
Sure.
And they've been floundering, right? Because Disney still needs these movies to come out. They still need these shows to come out because we needed Miss Marvel to be a show because we banked Disney Plus on this.
Yeah.
And so
we've announced all of it. A lot of it's in pre-production. It's almost more expensive to start.
Right. And so having them have to do that, giving Deadpool, how can I forget all the stuff with Dooflicky, what's his name? The gentleman Kang.
Yeah.
I forget his name at the moment.
Yeah.
But
so do they.
Yeah. But he got him and all of his improprieties. You built the second part. Imagine if we got a third of the way through and then Josh Brolin was terrible.
That's exactly what I was going to say. That Josh Brolin got canceled, and it's just like, well, you are Thanos. Oh my God.
Yeah, right.
At the very least, Kang, maybe shy of like the Ant-Man movie, which again, now you're talking about C to be.
But the thing is,
get me to the movies yet.
Yeah,
it's a big part of the Loki TV series.
The good thing with both of those is there's at least an ending, right? Like, because at the end of Ant-Man, he does kill that Kang, right? We see the Council of Kangs, but we can just be like, okay, that was a thing that happened. So the pivot to Doom War and like Doctor Doom is fine. Like all that stuff is fine and we can get there. But Deadpool and Wolverine specifically felt like a little bit of a necessary reset button, right? Because there are several things in that movie that really help. The idea of the sacred timeline, the anchor being. The idea of an anchor being is great.
Something's going to happen that's going to make Thor cry.
Yeah, they allude to something that Thor's going to cry over Deadpool, which is great. But the idea of the anchor being is very interesting because now it helps explain why Tony Stark is Doctor Doom.
Because he is the anchor being of his world.
Yeah, but they now have to replace their anchor being died.
We're going to talk about that on a different show.
Sure.
Because the Doctor Doom thing, so like, yes, what I have learned in life, and certainly as we narrow down to cinema, is to let things happen before you hate them.
Yeah.
Right? A great example of that is like, I did not, for the life of me, understand the casting of Heath Ledger as the Joker. And I was wrong.
Sure.
Right? That guy nailed it. So while I sit here unsure as to why Robert Downey Jr. is Dr. Doom, I will let the Feige brothers tell me and then make up my mind after that. Anyway, I want to get back to this one.
Yeah.
What I liked most about this movie is two things. First one, just really quick, is the breaking of the fourth wall specifically because it was so self-aware about Marvel big picture, right? This is not a spoiler-free review. Deadpool, like literally saying to like Wolverine, like, welcome to the MCU. You're joining at a low point, right?
Yeah, right.
I mean, things like that the audience is thinking and kind of needed to be like said out loud. What it almost felt to me was the same energy as a roast, where it's like, we're just going to throw this all out there, have a laugh, and it'll be less uncomfortable because of the environment. We're all having a good time.
Yeah.
And so for them to make a movie that goes like, we get it. We're not on the uptick. Maybe we are now, but we understand the stock has been going down. I get it. They get it. It makes the movie more self-aware, right? Speaking of self-awareness, the idea twofold of giving 20th Century Fox characters their farewells.
Yeah.
And the biggest thing I just want to talk to you about specifically is the hypothetical Channing Tatum Gambit movie that we finally...
Yes.
I mean, right down to the fact that it's like, that is the costume they would have stuck him in to the T.
Yeah.
22 years ago, if they made this movie, 20 years ago, 15 years ago. If 20th Century Fox had made a Gambit movie,
that's it.
That costume is perfect. Tatum was terrible in this movie. In the way,
he was the best.
In the best way.
He was basically the same character that he played in 21 Jump Street, and it was perfect.
Oh, I'm about to make a name of myself right here.
But the best part about that is that it started to plant the seeds, right? Again, we're talking about not spoiler, or we're doing spoiler stuff.
Yeah.
At the end of the movie, in the post-credits scene, Gambit is seen. He makes it out of that thing, and he's on one of the TVs in the background.
Yeah.
So having him now be here, you have Wolverine, you have Deadpool, so it's like, oh, cool. This was like a really fun way to backdoor these X-Men back into the MCU. because you now have Gambit roaming around somewhere. Wolverine.
You have the Wolverine you want.
You have the Wolverine you want. Exactly. You now have Deadpool. And through Miss Marvel, you've introduced the concept of mutants.
Don't forget Colossus and Negasonic Teenage Warhead. I call her Teenage Wasteland.
Yeah.
That's not it. That's the wrong title of a Boo song.
Yeah.
Anyway, what did you like most about this movie?
How much fun I had. As a comic book fan and like a fan of reading actual comics, there was so much in this movie that I actually got self-conscious about how much I was laughing. Because there were things in this movie that just tickled me, that people just didn't get. Like I gasped at the beginning when he's looking at all the Wolverines, and I recognize each and every single one of them.
I popped really hard at, oh my God, this is Hulk versus Wolverine.
Yeah.
And the Hulk was there. And that was the one for me.
And then he looks at him and goes, "I'm Marvel Jesus," and basically quotes Loki from the Avengers before getting tossed. Like, it was perfect.
Yeah.
It was perfect. I thought it was really funny. The only 20th Century Fox character that we didn't get that I'm disappointed in is Ben Affleck as Daredevil.
They weren't both going to be.
But they weren't both going to be in it, and I did appreciate the joke when they're like, and Daredevil died, and she's like, meh.
Yeah, that's okay.
That's okay.
That's okay.
That was really fun.
I also think they definitely want you to think of the new Deadpool and Daredevil as the guy from the show.
Yeah, yes, it's much better.
The show they're making.
Yeah, it's much better to have that version than it is to have that joke. Nicolas Cage would have been fun.
Wesley Snipes being just deflated of like the snipe, it's definitely more Wesley than Snipes.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? You know what I mean? He definitely looked more like a guy like named Wesley than he ever has before. You know what I mean? But like the idea that like Elektra got her finale.
Yeah.
And Blade got his big send-off, right?
I also thought it was really funny because they even referenced Wesley Snipes, Blade says something to Deadpool about like, "I don't like you," and then Ryan Reynolds is like, "You never have."
It's never have. And like the idea that like clearly that they're going to reboot the franchise because like I'm the only Blade and the only one there ever will be, and he's like, like, and the self-awareness is so like you could pick up out 1,000 things that are funny about it, but like even just the final scene where Wolverine's like, "I don't think you guys get out of this," because it's like, "Here we go, we're gonna do it," and he's like, I don't think you are. Like just that level of self-awareness. And also I want to talk about this too, like what this movie is this kind of like amazing blend of like it's almost like if Kill Bill was funny.
Yeah, it was
violent movies,
very violent.
And what I want to ask you as somebody who's the resident movie guy is, do you think with the overwhelming success, like I said in the opener, this is now the highest grossing rated R movie of all time.
Yeah.
Do you think that the success of this movie, right down to its language and hyper-violence, is going to persuade Disney, Marvel to maybe this is not the new normal.
No, but
that more regular.
I would hope that the characters that require it are allowed to do it, right? The two characters on the screen right here and the Punisher. Like
that's a good call.
The next Punisher movie needs to be a rated R movie.
Right.
And it needs to be as violent as this. That's the Punisher. But yeah, you know what I don't need? I don't need ultra bloody, like when we see like Elseworld future evil Hulk and he's like ripping people in half and the blood is like spurting out of their nose.
You know what you're going to get more of though? And I think you're right now, stuff like this, what you're going to get more of is like Wanda unraveling Mr. Fantastic.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
Like, she's covered in blood.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the most Sam Raimi kind of thing they've done in a long time. I know he directed, but like, her covered in blood and unraveling Mr. Fantastic. That's pretty gory.
I don't know if this is going to happen just because we are moved way past it, but like hypothetically, if we were to make a movie of Captain America in World War II, you now have the permission to make Saving Private Ryan with Captain America.
Right. And that's what I think this movie did so well. And there's obviously going to be trepidation. If you're Disney, you're only going to want to put your name on so many things that are rated R in gen.
Sure.
Right. And if you're Marvel, you know that once you cap at a 13 audience, once I need your parents to take you to this thing, if you're not 13 or whatever, then that might limit the market. But what I have said for years with you in private, and I'll say it on this show a lot, is these things, although children will enjoy them, there is such a large audience that will take care of, if the issue is if tickets will sell, they will. And you don't care about kids. So what are we doing?
The other thing too is it's not, you just have to understand, it's kind of what WWE or WWF learned in the 90s, right? In the 90s, they tried the new generation, which was the same 80s BS, just with new people. It wasn't, they didn't do anything new, and it was failing, like so much so that they almost went out of business. They end up becoming the juggernaut that they are today because they embraced the Attitude Era, right? And that's because the audience that was children in the 80s are now teens in the 90s. So you're following your audience. And it's the same thing with this, where it's like, yeah, the kids that saw Iron Man and sat through all of the movies for Endgame are now in their 30s and 40s.
And what if I told you this, that we have made 5 years worth of PG to PG-13 movies that you haven't gone to, that your kids haven't dragged you to the way they did Iron Man and the ones before it, right? Like, Captain Marvel did not make the kind of money they hoped it would. That lets, Ant-Man 3 or whatever doesn't draw the way that they had hoped it would. And so eventually it's like, then maybe, to your point exactly, it's like people that started this journey in 2008 with Iron Man, even if they were 10, they're now like 26 or something.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
right. And so what Marvel needs to understand is that you need to grow with your audience. And again,
it's a great point.
Like I just said, you're not making everything R now. I don't need Spider-Man ripping people's heads off. Like, that's not what I'm talking about. But what I am saying is like, your audience is more mature. And I've said this for years when it comes to the MCU. This is a television show that we've been watching in 2-hour increments over the last 3-hour increments over the last decade. This isn't just one-off movies. This isn't just the next Quentin Tarantino movie that non-sequitously I can just watch in any whatever order I want. There is an order to this. There is a story to this. There is a tempo to this. And you can't think that your audience is always going to just be the first-time audience. And we've seen it with everything.
You have to stop pretending like every movie starts over with 10-year-olds.
Correct. Yeah, correct. And you have to just realize that it's like, no, there are people that are invested in this and have been invested in this the whole time. And yeah, they may be 30 or older, let's say 25 plus. They're going to be 25 plus, and they're still moviegoers. They're still people that are going to consume this content, because the 10-year-old that you might theoretically want to attract is going to just watch it on Disney Plus at some point anyway.
One last question, then we'll wrap it up with a final review. This was the third entry in the Deadpool movies. Are we done making Deadpool movies? Is he now just in the broader picture of the MCU? Usually, Guardians got 3. I don't think we're making a 4th, right? Ant-Man got 3, which is almost surprising. We're not getting a boy. Iron Man didn't get a 4th Iron Man movie. Do you think we're done making Deadpool movies and now it's bigger picture stuff?
It's tough because Deadpool is so popular, right? Like, the character is so popular. Everybody loves him. So I can't imagine that we would see another movie, because this is number 3. This wraps up everything. But I think maybe we see him in a team-up stuff for a little bit before he gets another crack at a solo film.
Final grade.
Oh, this was an A movie.
Yeah.
This was an A movie. I talk about, and I've used this phrase before, where this is a perfect movie, right? Not every movie is the best movie.
Goodfellas,
but
The Room.
Yeah, right. Yes, but this is a perfect movie. It's a perfect movie because I was said that this is what this movie is, and this is why you're going to enjoy it. And then all of those things happened and over-delivered.
Total A. Everything you wanted this movie to be, it was. Everything you've wanted Wolverine to look like in your head on screen for 25 years, he did. The movie is funny. It's everything, like you said, what's the movie-going experience supposed to do? Elicit a reaction, make you laugh, make you think, make you cry a little bit. It is that well-rounded a film. There is actual deep character development to Ryan Reynolds and the Deadpool character. Despite the character's best effort, there's real development within. He's not just swarmy and violent. It's a real movie that's balanced in a way you might not expect while delivering on everything you want it to. It is the shot in the arm the MCU needed, and it's the kind of movie that just makes you realize why people were getting so invested for so long up into the Endgame run.
Kind of in the same way that The Dark Knight and Iron Man redefined the superhero genre to be like actual good movies.
Sure, yeah.
This movie now shows that if you stay true to the character and you service the audience that this character that is decades old at this point, some of them are hundreds of years old, if you're true to them, the audience that has loved them for almost 100 years are going to show up.
Yeah, that we've seen it time and time and time again, where it's just like, Batman was a certain vibe. 60s Batman never really captured it. 80s Batman did, and it was this massive success. Joel Schumacher lost that vibe over time, and then Christopher Nolan getting it back, just that shot in the arm, like, this is what Batman, we've talked about this a million times, like, if they would ever make even just a flippin' B to B plus Power Rangers movie.
Right.
Just make it for somebody and have it be loyal to what it is, not these movies that are for no one. But anyway, this movie is for everyone. Everything is for everyone because you're not too old to talk about and experience the things you love. Go to the movies, see things you like, talk to your friends about it, talk to us about it. We are all over social media. We are at Not Too Old To Show. We have a website coming soon. We'll let you know when it's up. I'm sure it'll be called what you think it is, but we'll let you know when we secure the domain. But make sure you give us a follow. Tell your friends that you're not too old to do fun things, like talk about Deadpool, and we hope you had a great time. Go see the movie. You kind of just heard the whole thing. You probably hopefully already had, but we love you. Thank you. See you real soon.